So my mistake was that I didn't learn words in context, and that means that I didn't know exactly how native Nelson. And that meant that I didn't know how native speakers use this word, only what I imagined. And the second problem with that is that you probably know that each word has a lot of meanings. So usually I learn just one meaning and I didn't see the other meanings of this word in context. I didn't see how else it works. So that was my problem number one. The second problem was that I was learning the words like we were taught at school, like for example word and translation into Ukrainian, for example grandmother, babusia or something like that. And that is a problem, because if you learn words like that, you will always speak like you're speaking Ukrainian, just using the English words, instead of speaking using special expressions, etc. So that was my second problem. And finally, my third problem was that I was learning words, I was trying to memorize them, but I basically learned to recognize them. I would look at the card and I would see the word and I would try to remember the translation, but it didn't help me, or it didn't mean that I could use this word when I'm speaking. So there was no connection between remembering the word and production of speech and speaking. Now, if I go back to those three mistakes, what could I have done differently and what do I actually do differently now? First of all, I learn English words or grammar in context. I start with context, I start with material, whatever I read or whatever I listen to, but especially whatever I watch, because I watch a lot of TV shows and movies. So I start there, and then if I see something interesting or unusual, I analyze it, I remember it, taking into account that particular situation. The context also helps me not to translate every time, or not to translate word for word. There are some expressions which are very difficult to translate. You can't actually translate them, so you can explain them. You can just write a short explanation of the sentence just to remember it better. Basically, your task is not to translate from your head to English. Your task is to express your thoughts, your ideas in English. And if you understand this idea, that's enough for you. So my task now is to understand what ideas I want to express and to make it mine, to use it on my own. And finally, instead of trying to just recognize the words, I try to interact with words more, and basically, if I want to know the word, I will make some sentences about myself, my life, real life sentences, using that word, that expression, or that phrase. How I could use it to ask a question, how I could use it to express my opinion, etc. And if you are looking for a way to do all these things correctly and with interest and not alone, you are very welcome to join our community, where we watch movies, which is great context, where we analyze some vocabulary and some grammar with workbooks, and where we can discuss all the questions, interesting questions. This way you can activate everything you need